Hey guys, Ian here. Today I'm going to give you my kind of thoughts, impressions, and like kind of a brief overview / review of the Mathews TX-5. I've recently joined the Mathews family, so awesome, sweet. And this bow is basically for those that aren't familiar with the TX-5, most people probably are, but if you're not, it's the 2019 model of the Mathews Tri-X that came out last year. So quickly before I dive into my opinions or thoughts of the bow after shooting it now for about a month or so, just give you some specs. So one of the things that kind of stood out about the Mathews Tri-X when it came out, kind of shocked the world just a bit, was from the axle length on the Tri-X and the TX-5 is 28 inches. That is a tiny bow. Probably one of the shortest axle bows on the market. There are some other companies that have shorter, but just in terms of like that top tier price point from like a Mathews Hoyt within that particular brand class, this is one of the shortest bow from an axle to axle length. Stand and point. The TX-5, 28 inches axle to axle with a 5-inch brace height. That is probably one of the the shortest brace height that I've seen coming around. So it's a really short brace height when compared to the Tri-X, which has a 6-inch ace height. This one has a 5-inch. Basically, what results in, this is Mathews speed bow. So they shortened down that brace height with about another inch. Gets about IBO speed is 345. But the thing is, when you're rating an IBO speed, it's based off like a 30-inch draw length. The TX-5, the max draw length you can get is 29.5 inches, so it doesn't really account for that last half an inch. So really, the speed that this would put out, probably close to that 350 feet per second mark. The bare bow weight is about 4.58 pounds. You can get this bow in the draw weights of 50, 60, and 70. This bow is maxed out and topped out at 70 pounds. Let off probably, actually I don't know specifically what the let off is on this one. You can get it in 75% or 85%. This one feels like it's more towards the 85% range. So basically once you pull through that draw, you can come back. It's not overbearing or cumbersome or really like a strain really to hold that weight there, which is really nice. So if this turns out this is really like a 75% let off bow, I'll be surprised. And yeah, that's pretty much like just the rough estimates and stuff that you guys can get. This particular TX-5 is in the Under Armour forest green camouflage, which is pretty freaking sweet. If it was in fusion, I'd love it even more, but this camouflage pattern actually complements the fusion very nicely, and with a lot of more of the spring greens. It's turkey season right now, and I am bringing this out to actually hunt birds with a bow, so it really blends in within that springtime kind of feel, and it'll also translate over into early fall along with that as well. So now I'm going to jump right into the nitty-gritty of this bow in terms of my thoughts and opinions. So initial thoughts on the bow in terms of like before, like when I was trying to figure out, like, because I knew last year I wanted a Tri-X, just because I'm a shorter dude. I'm 5'6.5", 5'6". I'm gonna round down. I'm not a big dude. I like a more maneuverable bow. I had the Darton Spectra E, which came in about 33¼ inches axle to axle. It's a great bow. It's just a little big for what I wanted, and really my heart and soul, yes I do have a soul, was set on getting a Tri-X. And then with this year with the TX-5 coming out, both in the same price point, kind of looking at the pros and cons, and maybe like before actually like really being able to really put this to the test, to just kind of put my fears to bed. I wasn't sure of just in terms of the forgiveness of the bow, the speed of the bow, and then like stuff like that, compared to like what the Tri-X had to offer versus the TX-5. One of the things that first kind of jumped out to me just because it's that brace height. This is a 5-inch brace height. The Triax has a 6-inch brace height. The Dart Spectra E bow that I shot had a 6-inch brace height. I did feel when I switched over to the Dart Spectra E, I really felt that brace height, the difference between a 7-inch and a 6-inch, and I was really hesitant and kind of scared, for lack of a better term, of how unforgiving a 5-inch brace height was going to be with the TX-5, and kind of took a gamble on that. But one of the things that does hold true that I heard Levi Morgan actually talk about when he was talking about the Triax, which is a 28-inch bow, and because of the type of the cross-center cam system that they have in here, and if you look at it compared to the bow, the cams are really big. And he actually said in an interview that the Triax with these cams, it's a 28-inch bow, but it shoots like a 30-inch axle bow, or like a 31, like the larger axle bows. And I can, it's just to me from what I've seen from when I first started shooting the TX-5 when I was looking at buying it, was putting some arrows through it, and just the consistency of that, I didn't really feel a difference from a 6-inch brace height with the Dart Spectra E to the TX-5 with a 5-inch brace height. So by all measures of the means, it's short axle bow, 5-inch brace height. That spells the mixing for a bow that's going to be super unforgiving to shoot. I mean, like, you make one little error and then it's just like, it's tough. But that wasn't really quite the case when I started to shoot it, and I kind of started to get out longer ranges and stuff like that. Groups were consistent. It just didn't shoot like what I thought it was going to. So it really shoots like very comparable to the Dart Spectra E, which is almost like a 5-inch difference from an axle length. So that's actually really cool. I like the trend that Mathews is on with that. And then just when it just comes down to the speed, it's fast, very fast bow. When this bow was kind of cranked down to probably about 60 pounds or so, it was already shooting faster than the Dart Spectra E I had at 70 pounds. I actually had to move the sight housing up, just to make, because it was just shooting high, so I didn't have to like add elevation. I had to take elevation away. And I've also noticed that with that speed, and just kind of like my final telltale, because right before turkey season went out, I wanted to make sure that my broadhead just flew true with the bow, because I've heard some people tell me that G5 Montex, which are the broadheads I shoot, don't typically like the Triax, or in my case, I was checking to see if it was the TX-5. Whatever setup I have from the arrow with the bow, they fly right where the field points go. The broadheads go right where my pins are, and just a testament to, from just in terms of the speed and what that does from a kinetic energy standpoint. When I shot the one arrow at a block target that I had that's kind of soft, it's been kind of worn, but with the Dart and E, when I would do this type of test, the arrow would stop. It wouldn't penetrate all the way through the target at all. This bow at 20 yards, that arrow went through the target so freaking fast and cleanly all the way through. It didn't tear. It actually cut right through the layers of the target, which really stood out to me, and I was like, whoa. So definitely the speed is an added bonus, but with that larger cam system, the cross-center cam system, it shoots like a 30-inch axle bow, and now they're starting to get the speed to match that and complement that as well. At least that's my take, just kind of how I feel after shooting this bow for a while. So, at the point of the shot, one of the things I did know when I actually went down to Bullseye Archery, and this guy's name's Joe, great guy. He actually had a Mathews Triax, and I was down there shooting with Corey when he got his bow, and it was one of the first times we were going inside, and he had a Triax, and he's like, "You want to shoot it?" I'm like, "Yes." He had a 28-inch draw, which is a little longer than mine. It was like just a little long for me, but I can tell you right now that as soon as I shot that bow, literally dead in my hands. Like, there was no vibration, no ringingness, no little kind of torquey kind of things. I really couldn't feel the shot. I just felt the cams just cycle. That was pretty much it, and that was unreal. That was like the deadest bow I've ever shot in the TX-5. Still holds that true. So what that means is it's a very vibration-free shot. It's definitely one of the quietest bow, like the quietest bow I've ever shot. To the point where basically the only thing that I know when this bow goes off, besides me going like, well, trigger's gone, I'm starting that, is I feel the cams cycle, and then in terms of noise, all I hear is the single bonk, and that's it. Especially when you get out towards like the longer ranges towards like that 50, 60, 70 yards. It really becomes like you hear it and you feel it, just in terms of how quiet this bow really is. And I'm very excited to take this out and see how it does against turkeys and against deer. I think it's really going to help me extend my range just a little bit more, at least in terms of being more comfortable taking that 40-yard shot, maybe 50-yard shot, but not going to make a call on that yet, but definitely the 40-yard shot. And then just in terms of shot placement, where it needs to go. Some of kind of like my critiques a little bit, the grip on this bow is a little weird to kind of figure out at first, and even still, like, to this day, it's a little weird for me just to get a really consistent grip and trying to get that down. The draw is a little funky, because as you like continually like shoot and stuff like that, it's a little kind of like when the cams actually break, it kind of just like you're pulling, and all of a sudden, whoop, bang. So a couple times like where it's like the cams just kind of break and that weight actually lets off. It's almost all of a sudden, it's not really like a predictable kind of thing. But then again, that's me just noticing it after I've shot for a while, in terms of just getting that bow back. So, but in the initial ones, the draw is still very, very, very smooth. Honestly, I just had nothing but nice things to say. But that grip's definitely something I'm a little about. But other than that, the roller guard system, everything else is great. The strings are something I just have to keep my eye on a little bit, because my peep just keeps wanting to rotate and stuff like that. And I've heard that zebra strings are a little but it just depends on who you are and your experience with it and your level of standards that you hold to your equipment. So this is the bow that I'm going to shoot for this year, starting this spring, going after turks. So hopefully I can get a bird down with this nice bow and really see how quiet this bow is. And yeah. So that's pretty much all I got here. Before I finally wrap up, we do have, like, this shirt that you see me wearing. You can buy this. The link to our Teespring store is in the description of this video. In video, we have, you can either buy this exact shirt that I'm wearing, you can buy a green one, gray one, a couple different colors, a hoodie, something for kids if you want, and rep your 585 pride. So check that out, and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. And we also have a podcast where you can find it pretty much just about anywhere you find a podcast for you Apple people. We're on the Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Buzzsprout, which is where we're hosted, stuff like that. So be sure to check that out. We're a little bit busy right now between work and being average dudes with actual lives. We work, Corey goes to school, so we're working on trying to get kind of out as consistent as we can. But hey, we're average Joes. We're not professionals. We don't get paid to do this. We're just doing the stuff that we love. So thank you guys for tuning in. Check the link below. Pick yourself up a shirt, hoodie, something. And thank you guys for watching.